comparing decimals. Before we talk about comparing decimals, let's try to understand what decimal numbers are. Let me ask you a question here. Suppose I have a number line and then I have 0, here I have 3. Then I ask you how many numbers are between 0 and 3. 0 and 3 included. Let's write them down. You'll probably think we have 0, 1, 2, and 3, right? And that would be 4 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, that's wrong. We have much more than just 4 numbers. Let's use the number line to put some of these numbers there. But how about numbers between 0 and 1? We have some things here as well. Exactly halfway, we have 0.5. And what about here? We have 1.5. And what about halfway between 2 and 3? We have 2.5. These numbers in green are decimal numbers, but we have more. How about here, or here, or here? So at any given point on this line, you have a number. Let's look at numbers between 1 and 2. So we have 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, and then 2. How about here? Right halfway between 1.7 and 1.8. So you would have 1.75. How about this number here? Between 1.2 and 1.3, but closer to 1.3 than to 1.2. So what would that be? Maybe that could be 1.28 maybe. So these are decimal numbers. Decimal numbers are the numbers between the integers, the numbers between the whole numbers. Let's look at a specific decimal number. That's an example. So this digit 5 is at the ones. So you have 5 ones. This one is 10. So you have 2 tens, and this one is 100. So that's why you have 100 and 2 tens and 5 ones or units. So how about this one? How do you call them? This one is called tenths. So you have 7 tenths. So it's not 10, it's tenths. Okay, and here you have hundreds, so you have 5 hundredths, and then here you have 3 thousandths. A tenth is 1/10 or 0.1. Is a tenth, 1/10. 100 is 1/100 or 0.01. This is 100th. Not 100, but 100th. And then a thousandth is 1/1000. Or 0.001. And of course, numbers can continue. So the next number in line would be 10 thousandths, and then 100 thousandths, and then 1 millionth, and so forth. Now, this becomes important when you start comparing decimals. Think about this. 2.341 and 2.35. Which one is greater? You may look at the first number and say, hey, I have 1, 2, 3 digits after the decimal. Here I have 2 digits after the decimal. So this one must be greater. But no, that's not how you do it. Let's see how you're supposed to do it. You are supposed to compare the digit in the corresponding places. For example, here I have 2 and 2. These are ones at the ones place, and they are equal. Then I go to the next one. These are at the tenths, at the 10th place. They are also equal. Now let's see what happens when I get here. This is at the 100th place. At the 100th place, 5 is greater than 4. So it doesn't matter what comes next. I don't care what comes next. I know this number has to be greater. In fact, for you to properly understand this, you may think of it as having 0 here. So you have 2.341. Here you have 2.350. So obviously this number is greater. So when you compare decimals, you have to keep in mind their place values. And that's what you have to compare. Let's try another one. 0.7, 0.6789991. Which one is greater? Again, when you look at the ones place, both of them are the same, but now look at the 10th location. At the 10th, 7 is greater than 6. So all of these numbers, they don't mean anything now. I know 0.7 is going to be greater. Let's look at some exercise. Put these decimals on the number line. Okay, so I am already given some numbers on the number line. I have 1, and then I have 2, which is right here. I have 1.5, then I have 1.75. So we're going to put the rest of these numbers on these dots that are given. So let's see. Let's start with 1.41. Where would that be? Can it be here? No, because this is 1.25 and 1.41 is greater. In fact, can it be here? No, because 1.41 has to be less than 1.5, because remember, here I have 5, here I have 4. So 1.41 is actually going to be here, 1.41. How about 1.8? Well, I can tell 1.8 is going to be somewhere there, because 1.8 is greater than 1.75, because here I have 7, here I have 8. So I have to make a decision whether it goes here or there. Looking at this list here, I see that I have 1.98, which is greater than 1.8. So 1.98 will be there. So I know this is 1.98, which means this one is going to be 1.8. How about 1.3? 1.3 is going to be right here because it has to be after 1.25. So this is 1.3. Now I have 1.2. 1.2 has to be before 1.25. Can you see that? 1.2, 1.25. This number is great because this right here is the same thing as 1.20, and 20 is less than 25. So 1.2 comes here. Now I have 1.68, which has to be greater than 1.5, and I'm right here. That's the last spot, 1.68. Now here we are asked to compare the numbers using less than, greater than, or equal. Let's start from here. Obviously these two are equal, so this one is finished. Let's do this one. Here I have 9, here I have 0, so obviously this one is greater. I don't care about what happens next as long as I see that this 9, which is at the ones place, is greater than the 0. How about here? This one, same idea. 6 is greater than 0, so this one is greater. How about the next one? So we have zeros at the ones place. The following number here is 8, which is at the tens place, but here it's 0. So this one is still greater. How about this one? Well, I have 1, I have 0, so this one wins. How about the last one? So I have 2, the number at the ones place is the same, but here I have nothing. That means 2.00, but here I have 2.03, so this one wins.